and amber heat health alerts come into effect this morning for large parts of England, with warnings of travel disruption and extra demand on the NHS.
Our main story this morning. The whole of England will be subject to heat health alerts today, with amber warnings coming into force in most southern and central areas from 9 a.m, meaning there could be a rise in deaths.
Temperatures are forecast to reach 34 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the National Drought Group, which includes the Met Office and water companies, is warning that England is now suffering nationally significant water shortfalls. Here's our correspondent, Ellie Price.
There's only one place for it, the shade. In Tilgate Park in Crawley, they're getting ready for the wave of heat coming their way. It takes preparation.
Pack lots of water, put your sunscreen on, sunglasses, hats, and just staying in the shade as much as possible.
Tell me how you plan a day like today.
We've got our beach mat, freeze the water bottles, tea for the mother, a special carrier, it folds up so we can get it in the boot.
We like to freeze the water in the freezer, and then when we drink it, it's cold or like slowly defrosting.
For others less able to get out and about, the amber weather alert here, upgraded from yellow, means the heat must be taken seriously.
Those who are particularly vulnerable, those who might have special medication that's affected by the heat, but we'll be making sure that we keep them cool, hydrated, and move them to cooler rooms, but also having more frequent checks to make sure they're comfortable as possible.
The high temperatures haven't helped firefighters control this heathland fire in Dorset. Started deliberately, hard to put out because of the dry conditions. This is expected to be the fourth heatwave we've had this summer so far, and this one is being fuelled by record heat in Europe.
Because we've got high pressure sitting to the east and low pressure out to the west of us at the moment, that means we're going to tap into some of that heat. It's going to be pushing its way gradually across the UK, and that means temperatures are set to rise day on day.
5 areas, the East and West Midlands, East of England, London and the South East, have amber alerts in place. But it will be pretty scorching everywhere.
We see through our public health messaging in our campaigns, people seem to be a lot better at taking these protective actions during heat. So while I think we will see more of it in the future, it seems that people are making the right decisions and protecting themselves from the impacts of hot weather.
Back in Crawley, compared to where their wild cousins live in the Kalahari Desert, where it peaked in the mid-20s yesterday, here it nudged 30 degrees. And maybe there's a thing or two we can all learn from meerkats.
They're very good at making themselves cooler by laying flat. So if you come and see the meerkats, they may look like a squished pancake. Don't worry, they're doing that on purpose to cool themselves down.
This fire-breathing summer is not showing any signs of letting up just yet, staying hot even at night. And it could go on for days. The cool kids really are the cool kids. Ellie Price, BBC News.
The heat wave hits. Health alerts are in place for the whole of England. Top temperatures could reach 34 degrees. There are warnings about significant water shortfalls with low levels in reservoirs and rivers. Travel disruption and extra demands on the NHS are also expected.
Now, as many parts of the country are once again gripped by very hot weather, amber heat health alerts are in force across the Midlands, East Anglia, London and the southeast of England. The alerts mean there could be significant impact on the health service because of people affected by all the heat. Meanwhile, the body, which keeps an eye on the UK's drought preparedness, says England is now suffering from nationally significant water shortages. Well, Phil Mackey is in Worcestershire for us, one of the areas under an amber heat health alert. Hi there, Phil.
Yeah, Clive, it's officially 31 degrees here at the moment, but that's a temperature taken in the shade. Believe me, out in the sun, it's a lot hotter than that. And as you said, this is one of the areas subject to the amber health alert. It's subject to a drought as well. It's experiencing its fourth heat wave of the summer. That's having an impact not just on people, but on animals as well.
It's so hot that these dairy cows are being kept inside in the shade.
It's lovely, if you're sat by a pool with a cold beer, but when you're trying to work in it, it's tricky for the staff and the guys, and it's hard on the girls as well, the cows. The main problem for us is the lack of rain, really, especially in this area. We just aren't getting the grass growth, which is a real worry, and it's a big worry for what we're going to do over winter.
At Bennett's farm, there isn't enough grass to feed the cattle. That affects milk yields, and they're having to supplement their diet with feed that's usually reserved for winter.
Everything you can see here was completely underwater until 6 months ago because of the heavy floods suffered by the River Team in this case. The reason it looks green now is they've had to irrigate it. There's been so little rain, but look here, this shows you just how dusty and dry it has become.
There are already restrictions on water usage in some areas, and river and reservoir levels are so low, the Environment Agency says shortages are nationally significant. The extended dry spell is causing other problems around the country, like this huge grass fire in Dorset, which started on Friday and is still being damped down today. The warm, sunny weather is welcome too, especially for those on school holidays. At Aztec Adventure, the Smith and Brill families were taking advantage of the morning session at the aqua park, but being wary too about overexposure.
We ladder up before we go and just leave it time to soak in, and then enjoy the sun.
Just make sure they're hydrated, make sure they've got plenty of water, and try and keep some sun cream on them and keep them out of the sun, ironically, but yeah.
But also enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's too hot outside, spare a thought for those whose jobs keep them indoors. It was 35 degrees when Francesco was getting ready for service, but when the restaurant's full, it will get even hotter.
In a kitchen like this, where ovens get up to 340 degrees, cookers always on, especially on a busy day, can get up to 40, 45 degrees in this kitchen.
How hard is that to work in?
Very hard, especially when we're dealing with 250, 300 people. It can be a lot of pressure and a lot of exhaustion.
Back at Bennett's farm, is it still worth being a dairy farmer after a succession of floods and heat waves?
Certainly, we are starting to question it. I think a lot of farmers, and again with the political wind that seems to be blowing against us every way we turn at the moment, it certainly makes it very hard.
But there was one happy surprise. A new calf arrived unexpectedly, but had to be quickly rescued from the heat.
Well, if you look at the River Severn behind me, it's about as low as it gets here, but it's still within a normal range. But nearly half of all rivers in England now are below that normal range, and that's beginning to cause problem, not least for the farmers, as we just saw in that piece I just did. But there is advice out there for people trying to conserve water, or at least not to waste it, is to not run your tap for too long. For instance, when you're shaving or brushing your teeth, check for leaky loos. That's a big waste of water, but just conserve it, think about it, and not waste it, because things aren't going to get much better much quicker. We're in for a few days of this very warm weather, particularly in England and Wales, but looking at the forecast a little bit further afield, there doesn't seem to be any meaningful rain for at least into next week, and so this is going to be replicated, and the problems with the drought and the heat are likely to continue. Clive.
But before that, an official warning today that England is suffering from nationally significant water shortfalls. The National Drought Group says the country is seeing widespread environmental and agricultural impacts from the lack of water, hitting crop yields, reducing feed for livestock, damaging wetlands and river wildlife, and increasing wildfires. Our Midlands correspondent Stacey Foster is in Rutland, which is one of the areas currently officially in drought. Stacey, we have had rain, haven't we? Why is it not making enough of a difference?
We have, but that rain in July just didn't touch the sides here at all. And that's because the ground is much harder, so it's more difficult to capture. And actually here at the reservoir at Rutland Water, only 1% of the capacity here is rain physically falling on the reservoir. The rest is coming from rivers and from the ground, but it's just simply not enough. At the moment, the reservoir is about 75% full, which doesn't sound too bad, but normally it'd be at 95%. It's not critical here, but across other parts of England, reservoir levels have fallen by 2% in the last week alone. Some are now as low as 50%, and that's all because of this exceptionally dry spring. In the central belt of England, here, the driest February to July since 1921. And while there's no hosepipe ban in place here at the moment, there are restrictions in place in parts of the south and for all Yorkshire water customers. And they're telling us that that's resulted in a 10% reduction in demand. But The government are saying this is all because in the last 30 years we haven't invested in reservoirs. 10 new reservoirs are coming, but not for a decade. And while predictions are that in the next 30 years we'll be 5 billion litres of water short every single day, there is little time to wait around. Tomorrow, if this weather continues, we will be entering our 4th heat wave of the year. And so while 5 areas of the country are currently in drought, 6 are very, very close. And so there will be forecasters watching closely in parts of Lincolnshire, the North East and East Anglia.
All right, Stacey Foster in Rutland. Thank you. Well, as Stacey said, temperatures reached 33.4 Celsius in Oxfordshire and in northwest London today as Britain swelters under the 4th heatwave of the year. Every part of England is under a heat health alert from the UK Health Security Agency, with warnings that the high temperatures could impact the NHS and could even lead to a rise in deaths of those over 65 or with health conditions. Our reporter Ellie Pitt is in Cambridge, which is under an amber warning. Ellie, it has been, well, a beautiful day for many, but there is real danger, isn't there, for the vulnerable?
Mary, it's been 32 degrees here in Cambridge today, which for many is a typical or perfectly pleasant summer's temperature. And to that end, we've seen this stretch of the river packed and full of punters and kayakers and paddle boarders. But the UK Health Security Agency issues these warnings for a reason, and that's to send a signal to the NHS that they will be seeing more patients through their doors, feeling the health effects of these higher temperatures. Where high temperatures and dry earth meet, fire is known to follow. Today it was the turn of crews in London and their colleagues in North Yorkshire to fight wildfires, as England felt the 4th heatwave of the year.
What we are seeing, and this is not an exception now anymore, that the intensity and frequency and duration of these so-called heat waves is increasing over time, having knock-on effects on ecosystems, on agricultural productivity and so on, and also human health.
Heat health alerts have been issued for the whole of England until Wednesday evening. An amber warning means there is likely to be a rise in deaths and a significant impact on the NHS and in social care. A yellow alert indicates health services will be used more and there is an increased health risk to the over 65s and those with serious conditions.
Good morning, Calvin. Morning. Yes, how are you? Very well. How did you sleep this morning, Calvin?
I had a good night's sleep, thank you.
Like Kelvin, who has Parkinson's disease and needs carers to come in 4 times a day.
It's very hard to tolerate. We have the fans going all the time. So trying to keep Kelvin cool is important. And the carers always make sure he's got lots of